Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm 28. I made a video 2 days ago on how to spot men with pornography addiction. And I didn't explain why you shouldn't date them. I just put the signs of how they behave in there. And I watched the comments unfold themselves. There were about 300 blocked comments on my TikTok page. And people keep asking me and sending me DMs and commenting, and men keep asking me, sending me DMs on why do I paint porn addicted men as if they were such vile and villainous and bad and damaging creatures. First of all, I don't think that I did that. That is you. That is you feeling caught from whatever I posted. That is men feeling called out from what I said. That is their guiltiness or their whatever speaking. And secondly, let's talk about the fact why I disagree and agree with this statement at the same time. So first of all, any addiction is a bad addiction. Most addictions are not self-inflicted. Nobody wakes up one morning and says, I'm going to be addicted to porn or to heroin or heroin, ketamine, whatever. I'm going to addict myself to tobacco, So it's not something that people do consciously, usually, 99% of people. But the way that you deal with an addiction, that is you. That is you and your behavior. That is your coping mechanisms. That is your strategies. That is the way that you maybe your addiction is a coping mechanism, Somebody wrote me that they feel like their partner's porn addiction is a coping mechanism because they never learned how to develop feelings as a kid. Okay, cool. Maybe that is true. But it's still a fact that they have an addiction. You know what I mean? That doesn't take anything away. You can't say, oh, your childhood was hard. Then it's so good that you're an alcoholic because it's your coping mechanism, That is problematic to me, People are sort of, it's good if we look for ways to understand things, especially addiction, how things came to be, where it comes from, how it developed, what are the parameters in the life of the person that led to them being addicted in the first place, because that can help us heal. But trying to translate this process into a justification is, for me, a very false it's a logical fallacy, because only understanding why somebody is that way doesn't mean that we should accept and forgive them for the way that they are, because we may have decided differently being in a similar situation, I didn't have an easy life. I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a separated single mom. I don't smoke I smoke, but not in front of my kid, I have been victim of abuse. I don't hit anyone. I don't scream. I don't abuse others, I don't treat my kid with violence, I don't bully people because I've been bullied, I've never taken any drug. I tried once in my life. It wasn't for me, That is the thing about dealing with. Also, I'm going to admit something vulnerable here, but I had a pornography addiction when I was maybe 17 to 24 or something. It wasn't like a raging addiction, but it was problematic to the point of interfering in my working life, because it was taking and consuming many hours of my day, changing my libido, changing the relationship between me and myself, and it made me crave a very specific kind of very forceful and rough intercourse that now I have removed myself from, and that I have moved on, and that I've healed from in a very, very long stretch of time of working on it consciously. And I have to actually make an effort to keep myself clean of never watching pornography again. So I know what it feels like. It's not that I give advice on these things because I took it out of my nose, or because I dreamt it up, or because I read one statistic. This is not advice that I copy of other people's creators, All of my videos are original. Most of the experience that I talk about here are original. Not original experience as in nobody has experienced them, but they are my experiences. I have been in these things. I have seen it in life. I have either done it myself or seen people do it, and I have dated people who did it, blah, blah, blah. That is, I think, the core of my account. That I don't come here to spit feminist bars or anything. I talk about real facts and real life. And I do it from a point of experience. And I think about these things all day, every day, all of the time. And that's why I have such a rich amount of stuff that I can talk about, because I've always gone out of my way to experience as much as I can in life, also negative things. So I know what it's like with a pornography addiction, but it is, as I said, the way that we deal with things that make us the person, that makes us the person we are, I've also gotten comments from people saying, oh, my partner was a pornography addict, but he didn't react in the way that you described them. He just retreated. He was just sad. He was just in this manner. Okay, cool, but he still has a pornography addiction, He's still only promising to do better, but not doing better, And an addiction is always something heavy on the relationship. It is always going to damage the relationship. No matter how well you deal with it. No matter how good of a person you think you still are. No matter how loving and caring, and if you still get it up and you still come quickly and you still do all of these things and you still are so sweet and soft and whatever. Your relationship is going to feel that there is something. The dynamic is going to be different. The way that you approach things are going to be different. Because addiction is something that is not just the Saturday nights when you do it. It is everywhere in your fiber. It is a trait of a personality. It is a custom. It is a habit. It is a worldview, It is something that seeds into everything that you do in real life. If you're addicted to nicotine, to caffeine, to alcohol, to pornography, to anything, dating an addict is fucking hard. Being an addict that somebody dates is exhausting for them, I would never date an addict again of any kind. Maybe a smoker, but it's not the same for me. And what I wanted to say at the end is that people who have been telling me that they are good people despite being porn addicts, I think you have a couple of homework to do on the pornography industry. Did you know that 80% of pornography is not entirely voluntarily, and most of those are young girls under the ages of 25 who somehow landed in this job without wanting to do it? Did you know that from all of the generative AI material that we have seen being produced, that is being produced every day, over 98% is pornography, and of that 2/3 are with children? Do you know how many kids, girls, children, babies get trafficked every day just to make pornography? Do you know the kind of violence in the industry? Do you know how violent generally the industry has become? How the consummation of porn has made young men unaware of what healthy sex looks like, young women too, Do you know how addictive it is? Do you know what a raging, giant, multi-billionaire industry this is, and how many people suffer because of it, and how many unrealistic standards we set, and how many unrealistic bodies there are, and that is not natural sex there. That changes your brain. It changes your brain chemistry, Pornography addiction is not something that you can just live with. It is like any sort of drug. It is a comfortable feeling that we have that builds on the suffering of others, Don't watch pornography. Don't watch pornography. You have no idea when it was made, with whom it was made, who this person was, if this is voluntarily, if this is an actual video, There are not many ethical standards in pornography. There are very big pages like Pornhub and things like that who do not delete old stuff, even if they have lawsuits going against them, because the stuff that they show is from trafficked girls, from assaulted girls, from girls who never wanted to appear publicly online on the internet, Just look into this raging beast of an industry and then tell me again that you are a good person despite being addicted to pornography, It's like consuming heroin and the way that it changes your brain and the violence that it is based on,